So back in like 2012, I used to work at this grocery store called Tops. On top of me working overnights, I worked at church full time. I was a minister of music. I had my gigs and stuff like that. So like I had a busy schedule. I rarely touched the piano. So I had to get creative. My wife had a full time job. She worked regular hours, daytime hours. So if anybody knows what working the graveyard shift feels like, you already know. Like you pretty much don't see, you don't have no life and you don't see daylight like that. I think at the time my goddaughter, she was 2 at the time, she was living with me, living with us. So it was like nearly impossible. Her mother was at work throughout the day, so I was taking care of my goddaughter throughout the day, coming home from you know working overnight. So it was tough. So I had to get creative in how I practice to stay sharp. If you're struggling with what and how to practice with a full-time job, I get it. And in this video, I'm going to help you out, or I'm going to, at the very least, show you what worked for me. All right. So there's like pretty much two things that you need to focus on. But in those two things, I'm going to give you some different things you can work on. The main thing is fundamentals. A lot of times when we're practicing, like, we think it's the hands. We got to do it 45, 50 times in order for it to lock in. But it's really about the knowledge and how well you understand the fundamentals, and that's going to make everything else make sense. So when I used to work at Tops, I worked stocking the shelves overnight, so it was very like low key. I can have my phone with me, listening to music and stuff like that. So what I would do is focus my time on major and minor scales, right? That was the first thing. Obviously, I couldn't play them. There was no keyboard around. So I would sing the notes. If you know solfege, you can do that. But I would just like find a random note, just wherever my voice landed, like, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I would do stuff like that while I'm stocking them shelves, putting that cereal on the shelf. All right, let me do it backwards. Do, ti, la, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Anyway, I'll do stuff like that. I would find another key and do it. Or I would like, okay, that was do, that was the one, do. And I was like, okay, what does fa sound like? Fa. And if I had a piano app on my phone, I would check it out and be like, oh, is that the right note? I would like literally be like, bet, got it right. And I would just do this like over a series of time. And eventually I got it, the next thing I did was focus on the diatonic chords. That's the technical term of saying the number system, right? Most of us know the number system, to a degree, but is it really locked in the way you can spell your name? That's kind of how I frame everything. If I can spell it, or I can, recall this stuff at the same way I recall my name and the spelling of my name, and that's when I know I'm really locked in with something. So I would first do things like this. All right, major key, major, minor, minor, major, 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 minor, diminish. If it was a minor key, minor, diminish, major, minor, minor, major, major. So if I was in the key of A major, what would those chords be? This is stuff that I'm like thinking out as I'm stocking them shelves. A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, stuff like that. Now, if that was A minor, it'd be A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, stuff like that. This really helped me get to the next level, because once I was doing this, I realized, like, how am I able to still play with accuracy and precision and I don't play my instrument? It was because my thinking was locked in. And that helped me realize, like, yo, piano is more about the brain than the hands. And I would practice spelling those chords. So like if we go back to C major, like I would be like, okay, C E G, D F A, E G B, F A C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, right? There were certain chords that even at my level right now, as the time I'm recording this video, like I'm stumbling on. So I'm like, oh, I'm a little shaky on that. So I'll make that note and just continue to get that better. You know, the greatness is achieved when you keep pushing the bar with things you are already good at. And the next thing I would do is like really focus on inversions. Like first visualize them, and you know, doing those inversions like in my mind. All right, E, G, C, E, G, C. Wait, C, E, G. My bad. E, G, C, G, C, E. You know, doing stuff like that with all the chords, stuff like that. You know, that really helps. Now, the next thing I did was, and this is super important, and it's ear training. Ear training is the most important skill. It's probably more important than the fundamentals. I mean, they go neck and neck, but like you can be successful at music without knowing the fundamentals. I know a lot of musicians that are like that, but ear training. So there would be things that I would do when I'm, you know, working, because it can, you know, these overnight shifts, especially stocking shelves at a grocery store, can get boring. I would like guess pitches. So I would be like, I would think of a note, C. I'm like, all right, what does that sound like to me? And I would be like, and I would go to the piano and be like, is that C? Or at least go to my piano app and see if that was right, you know, and slowly like get it right, you know, without thinking so much like, okay, what song is in C? How does that, am I locked in? You know, I would just try to close in that gap to see, you know, if I say C, sing that note, you know, and that's something that I'm still working on. To this day, it's just a good exercise to like really understand, you know, A flat, you know, you're like F, you know, doing stuff like that, and then checking it as I'm on my app, you know, things like that. So, and then the next thing you do, that's probably the most practical and the most useful, is hearing the one in songs. Practice hearing the one and singing the one. So if we're listening to a song, you know, you're at work listening to music, which probably a lot of people are doing, especially if it's something that doesn't really require you to interact with other people like that. You know, you listen to your songs, like figure out where the one is, you know, and guess, right? And when you hear that, try singing. Well, before that, is it in a major or minor key? You know, hear that. And then try singing that scale over that song. So if, you know, whatever song you listening to, try to find that one and sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And trust your ears. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. You know, things like that, you know, that really helps lock in, because if you can hear the one, the rest of the notes or the chords in that scale, you can start to hear what's going on in the music. So this is a big deal. And another one is to create chords and sing them, right? You can start off with like 3 notes. So if I'm like, what would C, D flat, and G sound like, right? And I'm like, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, okay, I'm singing that in my mind. I'll get to the app and play it, or make a note of it and write it down. And I'm like, okay, and once I play that chord, then I'm testing how well can I think of something and hear what I'm thinking before I play it. And then I'm coming back and I'm like, bam, oh, that's right. Oh, nice. What would that sound like rearranging the notes and stuff like that? You know, that's the same notes, C, G, D flat, but higher, and playing that and seeing if I can, you know, lock in with that stuff. So these things that I just told you are the essentials of how to practice and what to practice when you have a full-time job, or if you're just busy in general. Like, do this, and it's just like working out. Like, make it a part of your day, make it a lifestyle, and you will see results when you get back to the piano. And if you want to take your practicing and your playing to the next level, consider joining DB Music Academy, my online program and platform that help you create your own sound in less time. All right. So see you guys on the other side.